Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Quarterdeck Arcade. It's me, it's your host, Pete, and I am the Quarterdeck Arcade, and this is the Quarterdeck Arcade. I thought I'd get a jump on starting things. Today is a huge day for me anyway. I'm a big racing fan, so today is the Daytona 500. They're doing a hurry-up start today because of inclement weather, which will probably hit during before the half point of the race. So I wanted to get everything out and just start to show off here and get right into the build of the, what we're going to do today is the Popeye Glentendo, the GRS Build-A-Cade with Nintendo artwork by Joe Szabo and the acrylic artwork, which is beautiful, by the way. And so everything's laid out here, unboxed, ready to go. And we're going to dive right into it, and we'll catch up along the way. How about that? Let me get my tablet going. Good to see you, Ted. Welcome, welcome. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I did take a day off from the gym today. The last couple of Sundays, I've taken off and basically turned it into a rest day. And my tablet's acting up. Let's try it again. Live TV. All right, here we go. Let's see. Ted's here. Good to see you, Nerd Lounge Master. Welcome, welcome. Stock Jock, always great to see you, man. Good to see that you got 5 more of those. I'm considering putting an order in for some more. Little bit about that. I'm starting to run out of space here on this table. I want to get a better idea going of how to display these in sort of a diorama type scenario. I don't have any carpet. I don't have any walls. All I have right now are basically the Build-A-Cades and, of course, my New Wave Toys 1/6 scale items. But I do want to, I've got some thoughts in my head. Like where I'm sitting now, I've got all this space where I do my builds. I'm thinking about pulling that table out from against the wall and putting it into the center of the room and then doing side-by-side of the Build-A-Cades on that table. I'd like to get some sort of cloth or carpet that's blue light reflective so that when I have my blue lights on in here, that reflects off that carpet. But that would be a pretty good display. I don't anticipate getting a whole lot of arcade one-ups to fill out this space anytime soon. Obviously, if I move that table out and start arranging the Build-A-Cades nicely in a more dioramic type display, I'm going to have a bunch of space over against that wall. So what does that mean? Well, I could move everything over here, over there, or at least some of them anyway. Haven't really given it much thought yet. A little bit of thinking along those lines, but I need to do something different because I am running out of space there. And plus my power situation over there is really screwed up. So whatever I figure out I'm going to do in conjunction with running USB power from each one of those into USB hubs. And So I'm kind of kicking some thoughts around. If you guys got any thoughts, let me know. That'd be great. I could build shelves. I could put all these on shelves. I do have bookcases I could probably use to display these. Just a couple of ideas, really. So it is. I do like my collection that's building here. They look beautiful over there, but we'll see. Another exciting thing: Joe Szabo's made a post on Facebook in a couple of groups about him adding some additional artwork to his lineup for the Build-A-Cades. So I went out to the website this morning and I checked it out. Right now they're all on pre-order. He doesn't have any up for actual order yet, but there, if you look in the list on the Build-A-Cade page, which there's a link in the description of this stream, he's got extra listed there for more games that he's going to be offering for the Build-A-Cade artwork. Let's see, Hockey Town's here. Good to see you, Hawkeye. I decided to do Popeye because today is my 49th stream, or 49th show. Next weekend for my 50th, I thought I'd save it for one of my favorite games of all time, Donkey Kong Jr. So makes sense. Popeye is also a very cool game. I love that game. You'll often find it on my loaded on my Build-A-Cade over there, or not Build-A-Cade, my Raspberry Pi build I have over there with thousands of games, and I'll have it up there on the big screen TV, or I'll have it running on the Legends Ultimate behind me. Right now I've got Track and Field running back there. Let's see who else. Robot Ron's here. I hate spinach, but I love the fact that Popeye loves it and it makes him strong. Gramps Arcade is here. Good to see you. Glenn's Retro Show's here. The man himself, the godfather of home arcades is here. Welcome, Glenn. Good to have you. Let's see who else. That's it. We're caught up to whoever's here. Let's see. That's funny. I do have the jacket, but you know, that was all on my own volition. The Arcades Anonymous folks did not give me that jacket. Bought it with my own money, ordered it off of Amazon, and I also have the baseball shirt. I just thought they were there. It was a cool idea, and I like to support those guys because I love their show. I watch them every week. So, okay, let's dive right into it because I do want to keep this under 2 hours so I can get upstairs in the recliner and watching the Daytona 500. Maybe even order a sub. We'll see. So as we start all of these builds, we start with the base and get the battery going. Actually, let's do some artwork first. We start with artwork, but we're not, again, since this is a Joe Szabo's 3D kit build, it's a little bit different. Whereas with, like, say, Arcade Graphics, I would apply the artwork to the side panels right away. I hold off and do the Joe Szabo's artwork after the thing is built. So we're going to do some of the artwork. Like, we'll get the control panel knocked out here right away. All right. This is the control panel. Let me see if I can hold that up, get the proper orientation here so I can. Trying to, you know, it's hard to guide yourself. I'm looking at the camera image. But that's the control panel artwork. It's actually gorgeous. It's also upside down. There we go. Best to just look at the camera and hold this up. So that's beautiful. It's got a protective piece of plastic on there. So we'll peel off the backing. I hope you guys had a great week. I had an okay week, productive at work. Good workouts. As I said, I did not work out today. I kind of gave myself a break. Slept in. Make sure we don't do this upside down. We kind of guide it into place. I use the holes as my guide, you know. I like to get the buttons centered as much as possible in there. So I'm contemplating putting another order in for some Build-A-Cades. I don't know how many at this point. I've been wanting to buy something, and I almost jumped on the Fast and the Furious yesterday when they became available again. All right, so control panel is now done. Nice acrylic look, right? Because it is acrylic, really. So we'll set that aside. All right, next thing, we have the marquee, which is a reverse printed acrylic. So the nice thing about that is I don't have to mess with the stock GRS marquee. In other words, I don't have to apply this on the stock marquee. This is just a drop-in replacement. So, and it's got protective coating on it as well. All right, so the next piece we're going to do is the coin door plate, or front kick plate, however you want to refer to it. Oh, Stock Jock, yeah, what Hockeytown said. Joe Szabo prints these 3D pieces and it's part of the price of the artwork with the kit. So if you look on the website, if you look like for Donkey Kong or Popeye, it'll say Donkey Kong plus 3D kit. So this kit comes from Joe Szabo, and it doesn't come assembled. It just comes in a nice flat piece of plastic. So I started to give a bit of an update. Ted had asked graciously about how I was doing and how my gal was doing. My hip has been giving me, for those of you who don't know, my left hip has been giving me fits. I do a lot of running. And you know, people always say you're going to ruin your knees, you're going to ruin your hips. Well, I'm almost 60, just to put that out there, but I'm almost 60 years old and I do a lot of running. I run on average 200 miles a month. So that's a lot, especially for somebody in my age. And so the left hip has taken a beating over the last year and it's catching up with me. So I'm kind of forcing myself now to take more rest breaks. Okay, we're going to apply this as centered as possible. That looks good to me. So yeah, taking a break. Took it last two Sundays taking a break. I have been doing a lot less running during the week as well, just backing off a little bit because I'm going to be training for a full marathon later in the year, and I need to take care of myself if I'm going to do that. But I do have a race in May. I'm going to be coming down to Indianapolis, and I'm going to be running the Indy Mini. I'm actually going to be doing the Mini Challenge. So we're going to peel this protective plastic piece off as well. All right. So that's the top part. Now let's do the, we'll call it the J panel, since that's what Arcade 1-Up calls it. Hockey 10, I do need a racer. So like I said, I was sorely tempted to jump on a Fast and Furious. Would have bought it from Kohl's, so I got the Kohl's cash. But I still haven't done that, and I'm thinking about it. I had a racer. I had Ridge Racer that was fully modded with Buy Stuff Arcade stuff. And I let it go because of all my issues last year in which I had to bunch of big ticket things crop up. That's not centered enough. No, once it's on there, it's on there. Yep, it's going to cut me a break. That looks good right there. All right. And we'll peel the protective plastic off this as well. I have no fingernails. Yeah, as I said, today's the Daytona 500, and as a photojournalist, I know I cover all the races at Indianapolis, NASCAR, and IndyCar. I like to follow the sport as much as I can. All right, so our coin door plate is done. The artwork there is done. Looks good, nice and shiny. Okay, so the rest of the artwork we're going to do after the build. So we've got our marquee, or we've got our bezel. There we go. Beautiful artwork. I'm just going to set that aside. We'll put it there for now. And then we don't need the Nintendo piece yet. You guys were talking about the Popeye film with Robin Williams. I have not seen that in years. I should probably give that another watch. I doubt my gal has even seen it, so might be a treat. She likes watching films that are kind of out there. And all right, now let's get to the build. So as always, we start with the base. Speaking of my gal, and that was another question from Ted, how she's doing. She's recovering really nicely. She had her surgery in early January, and she's doing a lot of rehab. She's been going to rehab appointments every week, and she's got at-home exercises that she's been doing. So the arm is getting better. For those of you that don't know, she had what would have been rotator cuff surgery, but the rotator cuff was actually in good shape. All she had a problem with was her biceps tendon. And so that needed to be repaired, and it was. And so now, I mean, the scars are healing really nicely. She's looking really good in that regard. And just doing her home exercises and she's able to drive and everything. So what she's really itching to do is get back in the gym. She's a lifter. She's a weightlifter. So she misses it. She wants to get back to it as soon as possible. And, you know, it's hard to keep somebody with that attitude out of the gym. I told her, I don't know how I would be if I was on the shelf for a number of weeks because of injury or whatever. So that's why this hip got my attention. So I'm trying to take care of it as best I can and cut back on the mileage. I've been also doing a lot of cycling too. All right, so our next step is to put the battery in and making sure that the cord goes out the back of the base. So there's an arrow here on the base plate, which indicates forward, the front part of the Build-A-Cade. So you want your power to go out the back. And so we're going to need our little battery brace here, or bracket. And I'm going to refer to the documentation to get the right screw. So for the bracket, we're going to need two M3 by 8 millimeter screws, S6. So let's open up our screw kit. S6, that would be this one. All right. So the gal's doing great. I mean, she's doing really good. And I'm sure she would all appreciate you all asking about her. And she's right now upstairs watching some goofy movie with Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. Something about aliens in the neighborhood or something. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. It's called The Watch. I had never heard of it before, and I like both Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. But I watched it for a little bit before I came down here and fired everything up, and that is one silly ass movie. Speaking of movies, let's talk a little bit about Captain Marvel: Brave New World. Now, there's been a lot of YouTube videos. There's been a lot of discussion about this movie. It's undergone tremendous amount of reshoots. You know, the guy playing Anthony Mackie actually said something stupid a couple of weeks back in promoting the film in, I think it was Germany he was at, and just a lot of controversy surrounding this film. I'm not going to rehash it all here, but I decided to give this movie a chance because the opinions seem to be split on it. I thought, well, I haven't seen a Marvel movie in the theater in quite a while, so let's check it out. So the gal and I spent yesterday. We celebrated Valentine's Day yesterday, so we decided on movie and a dinner, and so we went and saw Captain America: Brave New World. I went into it with skeptic's eyes. I wasn't thinking I was going to be impressed by it, but I gotta say, I actually am impressed by it. I thought Anthony Mackie did a terrific job as Captain America, and I thought Harrison Ford was awesome replacing William Hurt in the role of Thunderbolt Ross. So those two guys really did a good job. Now, there's a couple of characters from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series that was on Disney Plus. So if you watch that series before you go see the movie, you'll be better off. Is it necessary? No, I don't think so. But still a good movie. I thought it was good. I'm a little disappointed in the music that the composer that they chose for the movie. So I thought they could have done better there. But the action sequences were good. I love the battle, the naval battle that was, it was really an aerial battle set around a navy, but I thought that was awesome. A little slow in the lead up, in the parts 1 and 2, acts 1 and 2, however you want to refer to it. But overall, I thought it was a good movie, good solid Marvel film. What I really, really, really enjoyed about the film was there were callbacks in that movie to Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk. So if you enjoyed that film, the Ed Norton version of Incredible Hulk, and the plot lines in that film, you're going to appreciate what's in this film. And I really enjoyed them bringing back one particular character, because I always wondered what happened to him, and that gets explained in this film. And so check it out if you want. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Wasn't a perfect film by any means, but it was good solid Marvel entry. Hockey Town, William Hurt died. So obviously they still want to continue the character, but the actor himself passed away. So Harrison Ford stepped into the role. And from what I read, Harrison Ford did it because his grandkids wanted him to do it, or kids or grandkids wanted him to do a Marvel film. So he decided to do it. All right. We've got the base all done. So now we're going to move to the monitor. Let's get our monitor prep. I'm going to put these aside so my workspace is expanded here. Yeah, I agree, Nerd Lounge Master. He was a great replacement. And, a lot of people complain that Harrison Ford is just phoning in roles. He's 82 now. So he's just phoning it in for the paycheck. I don't think he phoned it in here. I think he did a good job and really wanted, it seemed to me at least, he really wanted to do the role justice because he knew he was replacing somebody. And so I think he did a good job there. He brought his own panache to the role or style, different from William Hurt, but still tried to keep the character true to Thunderbolt Ross as portrayed by William Hurt. So I think he did a great job. All right, so we're going to start with the monitor assembly here. We're going to peel off that protective cover since I have a nice little blanket here protecting it. And now the documentation wants me to get the screen bracket. And we're going to mount that to the screen. The part number is always on the left side. So we just slide that bracket over the monitor. And now we need screws. So those are the S3 screws. That's S4. Here's S3. That is true, Nerd Lounge Master. It depends on how many films he's going to appear in. Honestly, if I was Ford's age and had his money, I probably would have retired a long time ago. Flew his planes and lived on his ranch out there and just enjoyed life. I mean, he's got a babe of a wife. He doesn't need to do this, but he still does. I mean, look at Clint Eastwood, man. That dude is still rocking it, and he's like 95. Which reminds me, I have to watch his latest film. It's on Vudu now. Oh, why am I wasting time with this and not using scissors? Yeah, easier. All right. So we got our screws. And we're going to take the 4 screws and we're just screw this bracket in. Hockey Town, he's talking about it. I've heard him mention it a few times on streams. There is a 2.0 version of this coming out. I don't know when. I think he wants to get through the FU cabinet first, and then they'll look at releasing 2.0 of the Build-A-Cade. And if that is the case, then I'll pick up a few of them and start moving some of my horizontal games over to the new layout. Or if they're even if it would be nice if he would make a kit available that can convert an existing Build-A-Cade into a horizontal instead of a vertical. All right, so we've got our bracket on. Next thing is we're going to take where's the piece? Oh, it's under here. Our bezel piece, and we're not going to put obviously we're not going to put the artwork on here because it doesn't fit, number one. So, but it's still going to go on there. And the lip is at the top. So all you got to do is make sure the DSI connector and the lip here are facing the top. So, and now we need to screw that in with 4 S4 screws. That would be these. Hope everybody's having a good winter. We got socked with some snow. Not much. I mean, we got 4 inches early last week, and then we got another 4 inches just the other night. So, and it was all light and fluffy, so it was easy to shovel. And then it just continued to do like light snow for a couple of days. And the problem with that is it just snows just enough to where you feel like you got to get out there and shovel the damn crap. So yeah, I had to get out there a few times, but it's a good work. It's a good way to get workout. I do have a snowblower, but I have not unburied that from my garage for 2 years. I have not used my snowblower. And the reason why is because I figure it's a good workout. So and it's windy today. It's cold and windy. Oh, that's awesome, Glenn. Good to know. I'm glad. Glenn says he's going to have kits to convert these from vertical to horizontal. That's awesome. I'll buy a couple for sure for my Robotron, and let's see what else. I've stuck with vertical games for the most part, but I think my Robotron is the only one. It would be Robotron and this Popeye, actually. Will be the only 2 horizontal games I've built so far. All right, so my bezel plate is on. That's good. And now we want to do the 10 millimeter gold-plated standoffs. I did make a trip to Synergy this week, Friday to be exact. I was not impressed. It seems like Synergy this year just has not picked up any return pallets from Best Buy. I don't know why, but all they have are the very few arcades or already built display units in store, and they look pretty. Some of them look pretty beat up. There's maybe 1 or 2 Mortal Kombats that look okay, but I'm not in a rush or a hurry to buy a Mortal Kombat. I have Mortal Kombat on my Joust, and if I want to play it, I'll play it. And it is online, so that pretty much satisfies my Mortal Kombat. All right, so our 10 millimeter standoffs are in. All right, now we're going to do the DSI ribbon cable, and I've talked about this on many occasions. Be careful with this bracket. Okay, when I first got my first Build-A-Cade, I wasn't aware of how to do this, and I should have watched videos on it before I did it, but I broke off the black piece, the lock-in piece of the DSI connector, and felt really bad about that. But Glenn was really super nice. He sent me out another monitor. Glenn takes care of the community. He really does. All right, so the colored part of the ribbon faces upwards, whereas your contacts are facing down. And you want to slot that ribbon in as far as it'll go, and then press down on the black latch piece, and that keeps it snug in there. And I'll just do that. This is not a good idea. Don't do this at home, but I'm just doing that to show you that it's not moving in there. It's good. All right. So we've done the cable. All right, let's get the Raspberry Pi out. Raspberry Pi comes in a familiar box. You all know what Raspberry Pi boxes look like, probably. Some of you might not. Here's my Raspberry Pi. I don't hold these up often enough, but just to show you, you've got an Ethernet port here, which you don't use. You've got your 4 USB ports here. You've got your GPIO pins. Here's your DSI monitor connection. Your power port. HDMI port, audio port. And then on the back side of it is your SD card, where your SD card goes, or in this case, where the SD card extension would go. All right, so we're going to attach this. The ports, the Ethernet and USB ports go down. So we're going to attach this to the back of the monitor with the 20mm standoffs. Someone mentioned risers and G.I. Joel. I'm a big fan of what G.I. Joel does. I just haven't ordered from him yet. I was going to order one of those risers that, or one of those bases that he had for the countercade, and then I sold the countercade, so I had no need for a base anymore. And then he came out with the riser kits, and I'm kind of sort of on the fence with those. I don't mind the Arcade 1-Up risers, but I'll give it a shot, you know, to a G.I. Joel riser eventually. The big candidate would probably be the Dig Dug. I would probably do the Dig Dug. So, and as long as he can produce the side art for the Dig Dug that would match the top part of the unit, that would be great. All right, so our standoffs are in. I'm down to one Build-A-Cade after this, so I'm going to figure out some things to do. Okay, next, we're going to connect the other side of the DSI ribbon cable. Now, there's a little plastic piece on this Raspberry Pi, and I mentioned this in last week's stream. It's just a little, I'll hold it up here. Oh. Right here on the DSI connector, there's a brown piece of, it looks like tape. It's some sort of adhesive thing, piece of plastic. And you just want to scrape that off to free up that black connector so you can lift it up with your fingers. Now, you don't lift this off, these DSI connectors. You just lift them up enough so that you can get the DSI cable in. Oh, I dropped that on the floor. I really need to run a vacuum in here. Again, the colored part of the ribbon cable goes to the top, and the contact side faces down, and you slide it in as far as it'll go and press down on your black connector or snap, and now it's the monitor is connected to the Raspberry Pi. So G.I. Joel's got more coming. Good. I like to support the smaller vendors in the community. And I've always wanted to get something from G.I. Joel. Seems like a really nice guy. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet him in Chicago. But we'll get there eventually. Yeah, I've bought from a lot of small vendors in the community, and some of my favorites. I really love what Tulsa Arcades does. I've gotten several things from him. I love Buy Stuff Arcades. I love what they do. I've bought many things from them, a lot of 19-inch monitor conversions, racing kits, you name it. I've spent a lot of money. This Space Invaders to my left here, a former T2, that's mostly Buy Stuff Arcades in there. So the Retro Shooter kit is also in there, but the artwork came from Buy Stuff, which is, by the way, that Space Invaders artwork for the T2 cabinet conversion is just amazing. It's still my favorite cabinet in my arcade. All right, so we've got the ribbon cable connected. Now we're going to mount the cables or attach the cables. So we're going to get out our cable kit. And there's one cable in here you're not going to use since we're using a Raspberry Pi 3B. We do not need the power cable for that's intended for the Pi 4. And it's the label on there states, you know, it's for the Pi 4. So we don't need this cable. We'll put it back there in the bag. But we are going to need these cables. This is the Pi 3 cable, and this is going to go into the power port. So we've got that cable going. And then we need the HDMI cable. That's going to go into the HDMI port. And then we have our audio cable. Now, don't make the mistake I did a couple of weeks ago where you put this end of the connector into the Raspberry Pi. You want the L-shaped connector to go in, so it goes in and down, and like so. Because if you use this one, it's not going to fit. The assembly's not going to fit right. I found that out the hard way, just because I wasn't paying attention. All right. I have not looked at, I have bought some things from Retro 530. The coin doors is what, like I've got a coin door on my Atari Legacy over there from Retro 530. I was going to buy a couple more from him just to replace some of the Arcade 1-Up stock coin doors so I can get them lit. And I haven't gotten around to doing that, but that's disturbing if that is true. I hope he's okay. I never really looked to see where he was located, but I do love what he does. Let's talk some of my. Well, first of all, let's do the next step in the build here. So we're going to do the wiring harness. Wiring harness is next. So we got our 3 cables attached to the side of the Raspberry Pi. Now we're going to get the GPI pins covered with this harness. So we're going to mount our harness. So let's talk about projects that I want to do and just haven't gotten around to doing. I do not like the joysticks in any of my Arcade 1-Up Deluxes. I'm just not a fan of using an 8-way gate joystick in a 4-way gate machine. Controlling Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man is just damn near impossible. And I also have some problems in Galaga. So I'm looking at buying some of Glenn's gates, or at least buy one of Glenn's gate switching things. I don't know if I can use that with the existing Arcade 1-Up joystick. I may just go out and get a replacement joystick at the same time. One of the Sanwas or whatever. But that's a project that I want to do. I want to see if I can improve my Pac-Man gameplay with a gate restrictor. All right, GPIO port. Now, the documentation states that that pin 40 goes on this end of the Raspberry Pi. So pin 40 is going to be close to the USB ports down on this end. So thankfully, Glenn has put a nice well, there was. Oh, there it is. I'm just not seeing it. So on the cable on the end, it says this is pin 40. So what you want to do is slide that harness connector onto the GPIO port or pins. And now our harness is connected. Now we're going to get started with the build. So we need part A. That would be this one, the side panel A. I look forward to what's coming from G.I. Joe. I'm sure it'll be talked about on Arcades Anonymous eventually. And by the way, I just want to say again, I put it in a comment, the shout outs I got from Ustock Jock and also Jay, Gamer Fridge, the other night on your show was just amazing. Warmed my heart. I do appreciate it. I was actually lifting weights at the time, and Stock Jock, when you started talking about me, I almost dropped the weights. But I persevered. It was still a good weight session, but it was humbling, and I do appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to place our monitor harness. So I'll call it a harness now because it's got a bunch of stuff connected to it now. We're going to place that, and the printing of the parts here is just amazing because everything just kind of snaps in together. So we'll put our monitor assembly in there into the side panel. And we'll start working on the marquee. Put this aside. So we got our marquee pieces here. You want your slotted edge facing the front, and it snaps right into place. And we're going to go ahead and peel the protective plastic on this right away. Boom. Nice and shiny. I love that marquee. It's just beautiful. Slots right in there. Great. Oh my God, Stock Jock. Don't even get me started about that top piece. You're going to psych me out, and I'm not. It's going to take me an hour to do it, and I'm going to miss the start of the Daytona 500. All right. Now we're going to do the control panel. We need to find the cable for the control panel, which is the 14-pin connector, which is this guy, which I've already located. All right, we've made our connection. I just need to drop it in there now. Come on, get in the hole. There we go. So our control panel is in now. All right, now we want our kick plate. All right, so our kick plate is in. Starting to take shape now. And we need the plastic bezel piece. And I do put the, I guess it's possible you could just leave this piece off because you've got the bezel for the Szabo artwork. But I still like to put this piece in, and it's not noticeable. Looking at the Donkey Kong build that I did a couple weeks ago. So I'll go ahead and put this piece in. Yeah, that's the wrong way. Boom. All right, so we're nice and slotted in there. And now we want the other side piece. I line it up with this notch here on the marquee. That's not right. What the heck? Yeah. My marquee's not lining up here. There we go. Whew. Just not getting inside. And there, everything else kind of snapped into place already. Amazing. All right, and I'm going to do the base first. You all know why. Because I have problems with the top, so I want that extra support that having the base in will provide. Gonna need to grab my headlight. I've taken a couple of these into work a couple of days, and people there loved them. Some of them even asked me to build them some, and I said, sure, give me some money. I would only charge parts. So I'll have my light here. All right. Now we'll do the top. Here comes the part. You know what I did not do? I skipped a step. I did not put in this, the extension, the SD card extension. We've got to get that in. And unfortunately now it's a little bit difficult, but doable. So people have questioned whether I needed to use the documentation anymore. I do need to do the documentation because obviously I miss steps. All right, so I'm carefully moving the DSI ribbon cable over a little bit. I probably should let you guys see this. So this is why he has you put this in when he does, because once you get that DSI ribbon cable in, it's kind of difficult to get this extension cable in. So you just kind of got to gently work. If you're ever in this position, you got to gently work around that DSI ribbon cable. All right, so I'm in the hole. Just got to make sure I'm all the way in, which I am. Okay, so the ribbon cable's in. Good. All right, so let's do the back or the top, the nasty piece. Actually, I do know people were criticizing me for reading the instructions. Well, today is the first day that I've kind of skipped around a little bit. I would have just shit bricks if that thing would have gone right in. First shot, right? So far, the cabinet's looking great. What I seem to have the most success with is when I do it, try to work it side to side. Oh, there we go. Ha! Well, there's still a gap there. I had that last week with the Gorf. I had like a minute gap that is clearly visible. All right. Well, apparently the marquee snapped to close that gap a little bit. So it's in. Top is in. Took me a little shorter this time. Okay. Now we're going to do the LED marquee, which is this piece right here. You've got your LED light here. So we need to find the power cord for that. That's on the wiring harness, which is right here. And we're going to run it up through the hole and connect it. Boom. And just we're going to slide this whole assembly in. There's a pre-carved out slice for it, or place for it, slot. There we go. You have to slide it all the way in. And that provides our backlight for the marquee. All right, now we want to do the center brace, which adds some stability. So we want to kind of gently move all the cables out of the way here. Then we want to take this center brace piece. The arrow faces front. There's an arrow on it. You just got to kind of watch that cable from the control panel. All right, so the center brace is in and our cabinet is put together pretty much. Now we want to put the USB extension cable in. I usually use the top two ports, or the ones facing the bottom, however you want to orientate it. So you want to put a connector in each port. I always use the two bottom ones because they're easier to reach. All right, so so you can kind of see the USB extensions here plugged into the bottom USB ports. All right. So now we're going to do the wiring for the coin door. For that, we need one of the cables here, which is this one right here. It's an 8-pin connector. You're going to route that down through the coin door opening. We're going to grab our coin door. And on the coin door, you want to pull out the audio cable or audio port cover on the coin door itself. Pull it as far as you can just to make sure the piece is out of the way. And then we're going to plug our connector. And then we're going to slide this in place and hope that the left button doesn't stick. Snap. Button's not sticking. That's 3 for 3 now. all my prior builds, this left button has been sticking, and now that I've taken extra care to work with this cover, I haven't had that issue. So lessons learned. Good, 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 good. Okay. What's next? All right, we're going to start doing back connections. I'm going to start with the SD card extension, and turn this back down a little bit. There we go. So we're gonna place the other side of the SD card extension into the back panel. What do we need for screws there? We need 2 S4 screws. And this is a tough part, trying to get this screwed in. It's so tiny. I need my light. That's funny, Stock Jock. Yeah, I'll probably give myself a C. Israel Gaming, welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. I appreciate it. Appreciate you watching. And by the way, folks, those of you that are here, don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. I know most of you are probably already subscribed, but I always like to say it, you know. I like seeing that number go up. And by the way, for the Arcades Anonymous folk, my number went up like 5 subscriptions after all the love I got the other night. So I do appreciate that. Much love to you guys. Appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to attach the HDMI, the other side of the HDMI to the back. For that, I'll stand this up so that I can get the cable in, but I'm going to get the screws out. The S5 screws, that's the big ones. Oh no. A black screw just fell on a black carpet. It's a good thing he gives extra screws. But running the vacuum cleaner is going to be exciting later. There it is. I actually found it. Oh my goodness. It fell in a yellow part of the carpet. Nice. I should buy lottery tickets now. All right, let's get this screwed in. So we're attaching the HDMI cable to the back panel. All right, so the HDMI cable is in. Now we're going to plug the audio cable into the audio jack. So, and you kind of got to work these cables so they're not tied up with other cables. So the audio cable is now in. Little audio port on the back panel here. And now we get to plug 3 cables. So we want the USB power cable. That would be this. Goes right next to the audio port on the back panel. And then we need the USB extension end. Oh, what did I do? We're going to have to unplug the audio cable and reroute that cord because I put it right in between the USB extension cables. There we go. That's better. Now we'll plug in the USB extension to the lower port. The USB extension goes in one side and then the battery power goes in the other. And that's our next step, which is to make sure the power switch is in the off position, which it is, and then plug in the battery. All right. Now comes the part where we just kind of gently seat all the cables, paying particular close attention to the harness. Okay, and then we're going to use some of these S5 screws to put the back panel on. And then we'll do the remaining artwork. I'm in the camera's way here. Sorry. Okay. You know, Robot Ron, that'd be a question for Glenn. I don't know. I don't know if the Raspberry Pi 5 would work or not. I think these were built with the Pi 3 and Pi 4 in mind. But he could better answer that question. The only Raspberry Pi 5, actually, I don't have a Raspberry Pi 5. I thought I did. I don't. I've only bought the 3B pluses and I bought the Viper kit from Glenn for my Frogger. I'm still playing around with the arcade operating system. All right, so we've got it assembled. We've got our marquee, our bezel, or our control panel, and then our kick plate art graphics. Let's now get the side pieces on, the artwork. Oh, first of all, we need the, can't do that without the, so we've got the piece, the 3D printed piece from Szabo. I got this upside down. It just kind of snaps into place there. Boom. Okay, and before I do this, bear with me, folks. I'm going to go get some. I really need to keep a supply down here of wipes. I'm going to mute myself and go get some more from upstairs. Enjoy yourselves, folks. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for bearing with me. I've got my lens wipes from Walmart. But before I guess I can put that piece on now. We'll do the we'll do this front cover piece or bezel piece. I just wanted to take a lens wipe in there first. Just to get up any of the dust bunnies. All right, so let's lay this flat. I'll use the same. And I'm just cleaning up the plastic piece that Joe Zabels applies. And we're going to peel off the adhesive that he puts on, the backing tape. This is when it's really going to look like a Popeye. Is this bezel piece. You just want to firm up the tape adhesive there. There we go. She's looking beautiful so far. Now we're going to do the side panels. Okay. Side panels. So we're going to peel off the backing tape. And I'm going to keep the protective plastic on until I'm actually got it applied, because then I won't be putting as much smudges onto the artwork. Not using any painter's tape this time either, because this is acrylic. I mean, it's a lot more firmer than the Arcade Graphics artwork is. And it's firm enough that you can just kind of lay it in place. And smooth it out. No tape needed. Beautiful. Oh, guys, should I or shouldn't I? A burger time with certificate and a stool popped up in our area for $800. What do you think? Should I or shouldn't I? It's probably already sold. I haven't looked, but I just noticed it this morning. And it's a sub 1000 numbered cabinet. So, I mean, I don't think that matters, but the person who's selling it seemed to think it mattered. He actually made it a part of the listing. That Burger Time is actually closer to you, Danny, down there in Racine. Closer to you than me. But I'd travel for it if I, put the money together. All right, so let's do the other side piece. I'm going to turn it this way just because it's easier. Smooth it out. All right. Let's take the protective plastic coating out. Yeah, 800 with stool, the Burger Time stool. And I thought, oh, geez. And that one's doesn't even appear to have a damaged side panel like I had. Remember my Burger Time, guys? I went through that whole process of trying to repair that side panel piece. All right, so we're peeling off the plastic. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, Joe Zabos just does some really kick-ass work. That is so beautiful. Really kick-ass work. I mean, I love the stuff I got with Arcade Graphics as well, but man, Joe's is just another level, really. All right. She's skinned. Looking beautiful. Now that's a Popeye cabinet. The Glentendo Popeye. Let's put some finishing touches on. Let's get the joystick ball on. There we go. I have my SD card there. I put links for everything that I use in my builds in the description of this stream. So you've got links to Glenn's Build-A-Cade page. You've got links to Joe Zabel's artwork page. There's links to the AC/DC power cables that I use and the USB-C to USB-A power cables that I also use. You can use either one, but whatever suits your needs. But all those links are in there, and even put in a link for the 32 gigabyte SanDisk card on Amazon that I buy. And I only use a 32 gigabyte because these things, I only put a limited set of games on, and they have all the games that I really care about. So that's all I really need. All right. So we've got our beautiful cabinet here. I'm going to do what I did before, and I'm going to lower the camera down a bit. Let me bring it in a little closer. And let's get some power going. So this is there's a link to this cable. This is a power cord that I use. It has an inline power switch on it as well, which is kind of handy. And then you've got your USB-C connector. I'm just going to plug it into the USB port on the back of the Build-A-Cade. And I'm going to plug it into my power source here. And I have power going to the Build-A-Cade via the red light that's on the back that Glenn put back there. Let's fire her up. I'm going to turn off some lights here. Got some glare coming off of something. Let's see if I can lower this anymore to get that. Out of view. Yeah, that's better. Stop there. All right, let's fire her up now, eh? Now, again, this is going to boot up to Miss Pac-Man because my image, it's my image that I lay down on these SD cards. I'm not using Glenn's provided SD card. I bought my own SD cards, and I built off my first prototype cabinet. I made an image that I really care about. So it's going to boot up into Miss Pac-Man here. All right, and there you see Miss Pac-Man. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to jump out of Miss Pac-Man, and that's by pressing the coin door and the player one start button. You need to go to not that, options, and we need to scroll down to show IP. And it'll boot to a point where I can see the IP. And the IP is 1.99. Okay. There's a way to get out of here, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, well. We're going to go over to the computer, and we're going to change that ROM. Oh, I just now noticed that. The marquee's not lit. Uh-oh. Yes, Stock Jock, I have ROMs on my pre-built image. Oh, crap. Let's do this first. I got to go back and revisit why the marquee's not on. Yeah, the marquee's not lit. Oh, man. Let's get the ROM image where it needs to be. Okay. Let's go here. And browse out to that IP address. Let me share the screen. I'm here. I'm awake. Share screen. Actually, let's just share window. All right, so this is, I've browsed out to that IP address using Windows Explorer 192.168.1.99, and here are the folders that are on that SD card. So just to show you, this is my ROMs folder, and then this is where the ROMs that I'm using go. And you can see I have several ROMs for games that I care about. And then what I need to do is go back and change in under the configs folder, under all, there's an autostart.sh. So we'll edit that. I'll switch screen sharing so you can see that. Oh no, let's do it the other way. Replace screen sharing, window, notepad. All right, so I've opened up the autostart.sh, and then the only thing you need to really be concerned about is changing the ROM name. So we'll change it to Popeye. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's just make sure that it's the change took. Yes, okay. All right. Now I should be able to go back and reboot. Oh, hell. Just going to turn it off. Not the best thing to do without a proper shutdown, but let's turn it back on and it should boot right into Popeye. And then we'll go back in and see what's wrong with the marquee. I don't have audio either. Is it possible I crimped some wires? Maybe. All right, so the Popeye image is loaded. Let's coin in. I have no audio. We've got no audio and no marquee. All right, so clearly something went bonkers. Okay, Robot Ron, to answer your question, what I did to get my own image is I basically built my first Build-A-Cade off of Glenn's SD card. I had it go out and download the OS, lay it down. It came with Robbie Roto. And then I remoted into that ROMs folder, just as I showed you. And then I put the ROMs that I wanted on it, and then verified that they all were playable, and they worked to my satisfaction. The audio was good. And if it wasn't, I'd try to find another version of the ROM or whatever. And then once I was comfortable with everything that was on the image, I used a utility called Win32 Disk Image to basically create an image file from the SD card. And I have a little USB adapter that I can slide the SD card in and stick it in a USB port on my desktop. And so I use the Win32 Disk Image utility to make that image file. And then what I do now is when I want to create or lay down that image on a new SD card, I first wipe the brand new SD card. I basically reformat it using an SD card formatting utility. And then I use the Win32 Disk Image utility again. Instead of reading the disk to an image file, I'll write the image file to the mounted SD card in my PC. That's how I create those images. Maybe I'll do a video on that someday so you all see. So the game ROM is loaded, it's running, but I have no audio and no marquee. So let's turn the lights back on. I'm going to unplug our power here. I'm going to crack this puppy open again. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I have the same problem, Israel Gaming. I can't catch most streams live because I'm in bed by 7. So like the one show I can catch live is like Gamer Fridge's show on Mondays. Because that's like dinner time for me, and I can fire it up and watch it during dinner time. So what did we do to this thing, eh? Did we damage the harness, the wiring harness? I wonder. I might have an extra wiring harness if I need it. All right, so we're cracking this open. We're looking at the cables, no obvious damage. Let's look at this. Oh, guys. See, this is what happens when you don't explicitly follow the manual. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this. From now on, I'm sticking to the manual throughout. Look what's wrong here, guys. Can you see that? I forgot an important connection. I forgot the connection from the wiring harness to the back panel, the black connector. Slide that in. I'm gonna, just for testing purposes, before I button this up, I'm gonna pop it on here real quick. Ah, there's the marquee. That's one. Let's see if the sound comes now. It should, because yeah, Danny, if you hadn't pointed that out to me, I would have not noticed it probably until after the show. Still didn't hear Glenn's audio, but I may have had the volume turned the wrong way. We'll find out here in a second. There it is. We now have audio. All is well because of user error. Yeah, all right. Let's button this thing back up. All right, so we got our ROM set, our startup ROM set. I always like to do a normal shutdown of these things, but you know, you do what you do, but I always like to do a normal shutdown. For me, it's no big deal if I got to recreate the image because I corrupted the SD card. I'll just do it. But I'm getting to that point. I got so many of these damn things, issuing shutdowns on them. I got 10 of these things, you know. Let's turn it off. And let's fit these cables in nice and neat again. And button her back up. Well, I'm glad it was something easy. Whew. I'm looking forward to today's Daytona 500. I don't know about any of you guys are race fans. I know a lot of people like to casually watch the two big races of the year, the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500. And other than that, they don't follow racing at all. But always been a racing fan. It's been in my family's blood. You know, my brothers have been photographers at Indy for many, many, many years, and they got me into it. So I'm doing it now. But big race. The big news today for you guys that don't follow racing is, I don't know if you know who Helio Castroneves is. Very popular IndyCar driver, 4-time Indy 500 winner, semi-retired now, but he still comes back to run the Indy 500 every year. This time he's running the Daytona 500. He's trying his hand at stock car racing. Never run a stock car before. He did run the ARCA race yesterday, and man, did that guy get an education. And a good one too. He was involved in several wrecks, but still finished 5th. So he learned a lot, and he especially, I think he made the wrong move towards the end that put him back to 5th. He was in 2nd for the longest time behind his teammate, and made the wrong move at the wrong time, and it wound up pushing him back to 5th. But he recovered nicely for that top 5. And anyway, so let's turn this back off. But I'm looking forward to watching Helio, see what Helio can do. He's starting in the back, but at Daytona, tracks like Daytona and Talladega, it does not matter where you start. It matters where you finish. So if you can take care of your equipment all day long and just be in a position, you're fine. I think he worked the draft really well yesterday in the ARCA race. So, all right. Let's do one more fire up here. I'll zoom in. A little bit more. Here we go. Should hear Glenn's logo too, since I have the audio volume up. There we go. Marquee is on, so that's good. I agree, Stock Jack. I think Danny should build one of these. All right, there we go. Boots right into Popeye. And it has a track mode music, which is good. Coin in. I can't really see the entire monitor. Kind of hit the camera. Sorry about that, folks. Oh, man. Didn't see that one coming because it was off screen to me. See, it's hard. It's awkward to play this off to the side, which is what I'm doing. Plays well, though. Wow. Game over. All right, folks. Well, we had a couple of hiccups, mostly because of my stupidity. But there she is, folks. The Glentendo Popeye. And she's beautiful. I absolutely love this cabinet. Highly recommend Joe Szabo's. Highly recommend the GRS Build-A-Cade. Fun little project. Easy to do, and it creates a nice space in my arcade. So if you're ever on the fence about getting one of these, I think now's the time to get it. Track mode music. All right, folks. All right, let's get ready to wrap things up here because I got to get upstairs. All right, there she is, folks. The Popeye Build-A-Cade. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the artwork. I love Joe Szabo takes it to a whole nother level with his acrylic artwork. And like I said, I do love arcade graphics, and will continue to buy from him as well. But for for the Nintendo cabinets, with the 3D parts, Joe Szabo is definitely a way to go. Stock Jock, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Old men of 60 plus. I'm not 60 yet, dude. Don't age me into that age group yet. It's coming soon enough, September. Oh, man. Guys, I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks for following along on this stream today. Another build. I've got one more to do. I don't have any more in-house, so whatever I'm going to do in the future is going to involve some other type of modding, unless I buy some more Build-A-Cade, which is very possible. I could do that. So I'm a big fan of the product, what it adds to my arcade. So guys, I just want to wish you a happy Sunday, and I want you to have a safe and happy week ahead, and stay out of trouble. Keep your nose clean, as my mom always used to say to me. And I'll see you next week. Okay, guys? I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you next week. And remember, I got next.